Have you ever wondered who invented the puffer jacket or when the pencil skirt was first introduced into fashion couture? How about the iconic trench coat? Well, if you're a history buff like me, you're not going to want to miss our new style series that we're introducing the first episode today. It's called Outfits of Yesterday, and it's all coming up next at Style at a Certain Age. Hi ladies, it's Beth, and welcome back to my channel, Style at a Certain Age. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. I'm so happy you stopped by. We are introducing a brand new series called Outfits of Yesterday, and what you can expect from this series is we're going to take a deep dive month after month into the reasons why certain items became icons. And I'll also style them because I know that everybody likes to be able to style those iconic wardrobe staples. And so if you are new and you haven't hit that subscription button down below, do so now and you won't miss any videos coming your way. Today's episode is called Fashion from the Military because the military is responsible for so many of our iconic staples that we find in our wardrobe, like pea coats, trench coats, aviator sunglasses. Those are the first things that come to mind, bomber jackets. But did you know that cardigans and chinos and t-shirts and the list goes on were also popularized by the military? So today we're going to take a deep dive into how and why certain pieces became so iconic. First up is the iconic trench coat. And the origin of the trench coat is attributed to the First World War, hence the name trench coat because it was trench warfare. But it's believed that the actual trench coat became popular at least 100 years before the Great War that it's named after. In the early 1800s, a new fabric was invented that was rubberized. And while it wasn't very breathable, it did turn into a very popular coat called the Mac, named after its inventor, Charles Mackintosh. But since it wasn't very breathable, the wear actually got very, very warm. And so there was some tinkering that came years later with this iconic coat. The major leap forward to a more breathable and lighter weight trench coat came when two different designers invented new rubberized fabric that was, as I mentioned, breathable and lighter. One of the inventors was a man by the name of John Emery, and he invented the rubberized fabric that went into production for the soldiers fighting in the Crimean War. But the other designer is the one that has really come into our everyday vocabulary and lexicon, and that is Thomas Burberry. In 1879, Thomas Burberry invented a fabric where the individual threads of either cotton or wool were rubberized, then woven into the fabric. And this iconic fabric is gabardine. In 1901, Burberry's iconic trench coat was adopted by the United Kingdom War Office and immediately became a hit with all of the military personnel, especially the British officers. But it was the golden age of Hollywood that cemented the deal for the iconic trench coat. Think of Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca or Marlene Dietrich in A Foreign Affair. And who would forget Audrey Hepburn in A Breakfast at Tiffany's? Double-breasted, belted with a flared waist for maximum mobility, multiple pockets, covered vents for air circulation, goes with everything khaki, lightweight and waterproof. The utilitarian design of the trench coat has made it an enduring fashion staple for over 100 years, and is one reason I always have at least one hanging in my closet. The casual pants we know as chinos originated with the American Armed Forces in the late 1800s. During the Spanish-American War, the troops were stationed in the Philippines, and their pants were sourced from a fabric from China with a heavy twill, and it was dubbed chino, which is the Spanish word for China. Interestingly, the chino has a predecessor dating back to 1848, when Sir Harry Lumsden, a lieutenant general in the British Army, was stationed in India. It's widely known that Sir Harry charged his second-in-command with outfitting the soldiers in helmets, rifles, and a drab material called khaki for their uniform that would blend into the background. Wearing drab material or khaki, which actually comes from the Persian or Urdu word dust, is the first instance of a military personnel actually blending into the background and the first use of camouflage. We've come to know khaki to refer both to the material and color of Lumsden's men while stationed in India, but later with the U.S. military personnel stationed in the Philippines. When the GIs returned from World War II and wore their chinos, it immediately caught on fire with the civilians. You soon found it on college campuses with the collegians wearing their chinos and sweaters, and a very iconic, preppy aesthetic was born. Hollywood again followed suit, and chinos became emblematic of effortless American style. Thanks to brands like J. Crew and Ralph Lauren, chinos have morphed to fit with changing tastes and now come in slimmer fits, shorter hemlines, and a rainbow of colors. While the U.S. Navy didn't invent the iconic t-shirt, its adoption as standard underwear meant that thousands of men came to know the comfort and ease associated with t-shirts. In 1904, the Cooper Underwear Company ran an ad in The World Today, a popular news magazine at the time, touting the first bachelor undershirt. This new undershirt was marketed to bachelors because it had no buttons, was a pullover, had a neckline that snapped back, and was cotton. So the t-shirt was marketed to unmarried men who had no sewing skills and no interest in developing them, and it became an instant hit. But the bachelor undershirt evolved from the long underwear that men were prone to wear in the 19th century. Thought to have gotten its name from its shape, in reality, the word t-shirt first appeared in the Oxford English Dictionary thanks to F. Scott Fitzgerald. In his novel, This Side of Paradise, Fitzgerald lists the t-shirt as one of the items that comes along to a college preparatory school. All through the 1930s, wearing a t-shirt on its own was considered inappropriate. But all that changed when the returning veterans from World War II came back sporting not only their chinos, but their t-shirt as well. Again, Hollywood popularized the t-shirt as an outer garment when Marlon Brando wore a tight-fitting white t-shirt in his steamy performance as Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire. Brando's smoldering performance caused a spike in t-shirt sales, and it's really hard to imagine t-shirts not being part of our everyday style. Few articles of clothing are as universally beloved as t-shirts. They've transformed from humble underwear to collectible, statement-making articles of clothing, garments to which we attach sentiment and in which we find comfort. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about those fashion items that have come to be known as our staples in our closet. I certainly had a lot of fun researching it. I'm a history buff, and it's always very interesting to me to find out why and when and who. Thanks so much for stopping by. Of course, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. You can follow me on Instagram or subscribe to my blog, Style to a Certain Age. And I'll see you again very, very soon when we have a new video coming your way. Bye-bye.